What's going on, guys? It's GBP, baby. Welcome back to another weekly review. I hope everybody's doing well, and let's get straight into things. So we're going to start on the economic calendar as per usual, and you can see that Wednesday, Thursday and Friday we have high impact news with CPI on the Wednesday, PPI on the Thursday, and then we've got the consumer sentiment on Friday. Another thing to take note of is that Mondays tend to be very volatile after non-farm payroll. ICT has said and stated before that Mondays after non-farm payroll are good days to trade. So I am expecting a lot of movement on Monday, and we'll get into that as we head over to the charts. So let's go straight there. And before we're starting on the weekly, but before we get into this, I do want to state that I did do a IP to data range video that dropped on Friday. So I will link that in this video for you to go and watch now, because you'll see my overall bias for like the higher time frames, and that will help you understand why I'm having a bearish bias now on dollar, and it just makes things a little bit more clear. But away from the IP to data range, let's just look at the weekly as how we usually do. So you can see we've recently taken out this swing high, and we traded into this bearish weekly order block. And you see that we had a down close week, which is also nice to see. So the fact that I'm expecting lower prices means that I do want to see a down close week moving into this new week, which means that I'd like to see the low get created on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, preferably Monday. That would be nice. I am expecting consolidation on Tuesday, especially with CPI on Wednesday. But overall, I am expecting lower prices and to see us start heading down into this fair value gap. So there are a few things I want to get marked out. The first thing I want to get marked out is the midpoint of this wick, because you'll notice that that price, although we've wicked through. So although we've wicked above the 50% level, you can see that volume is, managing to remain below that 50% level. And I do like to see this, because it suggests to me that we are likely to continue to see lower prices. The fact that, we've wicked above, volume staying at that 25% level, which I'm also going to get marked out. Preferably moving into the new week, we don't even trade above that 25% level. I would like to think that price will reject at this level, so maybe create the high there, and then I'd like to see lower prices. But as we drop down to the lower time frames, we can mark out more PD arrays, and we should be able to get a better look at price. So let's just get this marked out like so. We'll make this one blue, and we'll make it dotted, and then we'll make this one we'll make it red, and we'll make it dashed. And then we know that these are going to be the points of this wick from here. So why am I watching this wick specifically? Well, just to be honest, this is the wick which we're trading in, and wicks are ranges too. So if we look at the wick as a whole, we need to treat wicks like we treat fair value gaps, which is why I wanted to bring our attention to that 50% level and 25% level. If this wick wasn't here, then I'd be referring to something else. But the fact that it's there means I don't want to ignore it, which is why I'm bringing our attention to these levels. So yeah, very interesting. And then obviously we have this massive fair value gap down here to trade into. So I'll just mark that out. We've got the low of it here, and I'll mark it out in blue. And we've got the high of it here. So I'm watching for price to start trading down into this. It would be nice to see if we can take out this week's low. So that's also a draw on liquidity. And if you've watched my IP to data range video, you'll know about that. But generally speaking, I've got my eyes set on this fair value gap. So now let's drop down to the daily, and you'll see how price delivered, traded higher. Tuesday made the high, but Monday we traded above this swing high. Tuesday making the high, and then from then on we had a nice break lower. Another thing to take note of is this volume imbalance. Yes, we've wicked through it with non-farm payroll, but again, look at how volume is treating it. So volume is continuing to respect, these bearish PD arrays, because this is now a bearish fair value gap because we closed below it. So moving into the new day, I'd like to think that price will continue to treat it as such. So I am going to keep this marked out as a bearish fair value gap. Let me just write that in. And then I'll be watching price very closely in the new week to see how we trade around that. Because like I said, the highest I want to see price trade is this blue level. If price goes above there, then I'll be a little bit more cautious. And what you'll find is that blue level also lines up with 50% of Friday's wick. Just below it, and this is the very highest. If price starts trading above there, I'll probably be a lot more wary and stay out. But preferably, I'd like to think we can see continued resistance with the expectation to then run into this Thursday low, which I can draw out as sell side liquidity. And again, start filling that weekly imbalance that we know is delineated between these two blue lines. We also have a bullish order block here, but once we drop down to the 4 hour, you will see a nice liquidity void, which I did want to see get traded to last week. But let's take a look. So here's that 4 hour. You can see we broke down. Here's that non-farm payroll, wicked. Again, look at volume. What's volume doing? It's respecting that bearish fair value gap at the consolidation. Here's that swing low I want to see get traded to. And here's a nice fair value gap on the 4 hour, which I did also bring our attention to last week. So there's a lot of PD arrays which are pretty much the same as what I was drawing our attention to in the last week. But moving into the new week, like I said, Monday is likely to be very aggressive because it's the Monday after non-farm payroll. And to be honest, I would just like to see a continuation, as in I do want to see lower prices. I'd like to think that we can take out Friday's low and start moving our way down towards this fair value gap. It is likely we may find resistance at this level here, like price may come down, bounce off it. But overall, like for the week in general, I'm looking for us to reach into here. Let's go to the 1 hour to finish up. Again, here's that delivery. As soon as price breaks this low, I'm happy to start looking for shorts on dollar with the expectation for longs on the pairs and for us to start working our way into these relative equal lows. You'll see that this low lines up nicely with this low. So again, we've got liquidity residing below there that price is going to want to draw to. You'll also find a nice fair value gap up here, just above the level that I don't want to see price trade above. I want to see this get left open. If this gets left open, this is again a signature of price, and it suggests to me that this can act as a breakaway gap for price to then continue running lower. So this fair value gap, that can get filled as much as it wants, but preferably we don't touch this one up here. So I'll be keeping my eyes set on this range right here as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, we'll make it white, and we'll just keep an eye on that level moving into the new week. And what you'll find is that we did actually trade up into this imbalance on non-farm payroll. I didn't bring our attention to this because, to be honest, I didn't think price would reach up there. But it's very interesting to see that we did that and then turned around accordingly and then just stopped in our tracks at this order block. But yeah, like I said, with Monday trading, I would think that we'll probably just see a run lower and then see how the rest of the week plays out. Let's go to the 15 minute. You can see we're just in that consolidation. Again, there's that imbalance we traded into. And yeah, I'm just expecting lower prices. So really not much. If you go to my Thursday review, you'll notice that I haven't really changed much. It's just the fact that non-farm payroll traded higher first, running out all these sell stops before moving lower potentially. So long as we continue moving lower, I'm pretty happy with price. And it should be quite an exciting week. I am looking forward to this week. I do think it's going to be quite good. And there should be quite a few setups forming in general. So let's hope that will make sense. Let's now head over to GBP USD. And we're going to start on the weekly here as well. And again, if you watch my up to data range video, I do have a higher time frame analysis marked out explaining where and what levels I want to see price trading to. But similar to dollar, we have a fair value gap right here that I want to see us trade into, so we can draw out the range of that as a target for price to fill. And then we also have this week's high as well as a potential reach if price wants to get aggressive. So we can write buy side liquidity. And then you can see that last week we ran out these lows, grabbed sell stops and then traded higher, which is nice to see again. And another thing to take note of is if we look at the 50% of that wick right here, volume is also managing to stay above that. Let me just make that red. Ooh. Bear with me, guys. What am I doing? So yeah, this wick, which is technically a breaker, the fact that we're staying above it anyway, volume, is respecting it. I like to see these kind of things, again, signatures in price, and I'd like to see us continue higher in the new week. So overall, I'm expecting an up close candle. That's what I'm looking to see. Again, but it's all based off my higher time frame analysis and my understanding that I wanted to see price trade higher as we move into April. So we will have to wait and see. Again, I'm going to let Monday trade and find out. Let's go to the daily. And you can see how we came lower, traded above. The fact that we closed again above this consolidation. If you remember, if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I brought our attention to this range right here. You can see our prices remaining above that. So if this continues, realistically, it's just a matter of seeing how we treat this level. If this continues to provide support, I'm happy to be bullish on pound with bearishness on dollar. But like I said, as soon as we start losing and seeing weakness, so let's say we drop below this 50% level that was created on non-farm payroll. If this 50% level gets lost, I'll change my bias and I'll expect to run lower. Simple as that, guys. Like, I'm just waiting to see, do we want to push higher now? Because like I said, it's very well that Monday may trade lower and we may start playing around with this midpoint. So let's just take that into consideration. And as we drop down to the 4 hour, we should be able to frame price better. But as far as I'm concerned, if we are to trade higher, it's going to trade aggressively higher and we'll probably run straight to this buy side liquidity. But yeah, should be interesting to say the least. Let's go to the 4 hour, see what price is looking like. Again, we're consolidating. Why? We consolidated here, we came down, accumulation, traded higher, ran out stops. So we have, as far as I'm concerned, this is, significant. We've broke structure here. This is a break of structure to me. This retracement, we simply retrace back into an order block, turned around, filling in this range. Again, I'd like to think that price can just push on higher. Let's go to a 1 hour. There's that 50% level I was talking about. Again, if we lose this level, I will simply be bearish. It's as simple as that. But I would like to think that we don't even trade into this fair value gap, and that, you know, price can find support within this range, and then we can look for longs with the expectation to run for buy stops above here. So I'm going to move this right here, because this is our target in price, especially with this massive liquidity void up here. I'd like to think that price can get up there. But so here's the 1 hour. Again, we've taken out that high after running sell stops. We have an expectation to trade higher, so it's just a matter of letting that Monday trade and seeing how we're treating this range. But like I said, as soon as we lose this level here, then I'm bearish. It's as simple as that. So long as price stays above this level, I'm happy to be buying. But yeah, I do think we have to wait, and this is an environment where price really could trade lower. Like if price broke lower and started running this low and running into these lows, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, and then I'd simply just readjust and start hunting for shorts. But until that happens, I'm going to remain bullish, because that's my bias on the higher time frame, and we know to expect higher prices on GBP throughout the month of April. So yeah, it's just a waiting game, but we will have to wait and see for sure. Again, especially looking at these relative equal lows down here, like these are very clean. Let me get them marked out. I would not be surprised if price seeks to trade into these, but it's all dependent on the dollar, as we know. But the fact that dollar took out its high here, yeah, very interesting. So let's go and finish on Euro USD. We'll start on the weekly here as well. Very low probability environments, guys. Don't take my word for everything I say. We've filled this fair value gap. What we expect in higher prices. Again, I'm liking the look of this high as a potential draw, and you can see we're in a weekly consolidation right now. So it's not like price is easy right now, because we're not trending, we're just moving sideways. So analysis in general is pretty difficult, but we can do what we can. We can only try. So here's that buy side liquidity I was saying. We got that fair value gap traded to, so this would be my next target for price. We can see we came down, grabbed stops, complemented that midpoint 50%, traded higher. So now let's go to the daily and see how price is trading. So you'll see we came down into a breaker, got a low, a high, a lower low, and then price has broken to the upside. Came back down into the breaker, beautiful reaction off of that, leaving a slight gap here as well. I'd like to think that can get left open, with the expectation again to start working our way to buy stops. Now there is high impact news on euro, so we might see a lot of volatility around the euro, which is nice to see. But our first target in price will be Thursday's high, so we can get that marked out as buy side liquidity. And again, there's that swing high we just traded into. Let's drop down to the 4 hour to get a better look at price. And again, if you watch my video on Thursday, I did say I wanted to see price come back down to this level. I didn't know it was going to do it at FOMC. I thought price would come down to it first and then trade higher. But at FOMC, it was very interesting to see how price came down and then whipped right off of it. So in terms of support for my bias of bullishness, FOMC technically supported it, which is another reason I'd like to think that we can see continued upwards price action. We have a fair value gap on the 4 hour here to fill. And yeah, this breaker in general, low, like I said, high, lower low. We're traded into this breaker, so realistically, price should want to seek higher prices. Let's go to the 1 hour. And then in terms of the lowest I want to see price trade, again, it's the same as what I was showing you on the other time frames, on the other pairs, sorry. I don't want to see price violate this hourly fair value gap. If price comes down and trades through that, then I'll probably be bearish. And like I said, I'll start looking for lows here, here, and here. But so far as I'm concerned, I'd like to think that this will be the lowest price can go. And then we can look for longs for the rest of the week, running into CPI and such, with the expectation to trade higher. But we can only wait and see, can't we, guys? So that is my bias. I hope you found this insightful. Again, very low probability. I'm not very sure, because like I said, price very well we could fail to take out this high, and then just, price could just dump and fail and, target these lows, which very well could happen. But based off my higher time frame analysis, I'm wanting to see lower prices, but it is still early days of April, so we might not have made the high of April on dollar yet. It'll be interesting if we did, because it was the first day. So, you know, that's something to consider. And yeah, we just got to watch how we treat this level, really. As soon as we trade through that and start running for these levels up here, then we can easily be bullish and start running for these highs. It's as simple as that. But I hope you found this insightful, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, join the Discord. I do live backtesting in Discord every Sunday at 4 p.m. I've done it today, just before this video. Very insightful, very helpful. And yeah, catch you in the next one. Peace.